Let me show you how to stuff this thing back in there where it belongs. In this episode of Aston1936.com, I'm going to show you how to reinstall the right rear inner trunk liner, boot liner, depending on which side of the pond you're on. And it's not too difficult a task. It's probably something you had out if you were doing, well, I was fitting a rear parking camera and I was routing my wiring in through the space behind the rear taillight lens and then in along the inner compartments of the car that's behind here. So that's why I had mine out. You might also, of course, just have to have taken this out because you're going to just take out your taillight lens to change that. So for whatever reason you had it out, it's pretty simple to put it back in. It's mostly the same process as yanking it out, but I want to show you a couple of the tricks along the way. We only need a couple of tools. Basically, we need a flat blade screwdriver that we're going to use to get ourselves a little extra prying room to install a piece, and we need a stubby Phillips screwdriver to reinstall the battery charge point cover. As I put the unit back in, the first thing I'm going to be thinking about though up here is I've got to reconnect the trunk light system. And mine works. I'm positive it's just out right now because it's been open so long. I cleaned the bulb. If you decided you wanted to put in an LED bulb, now's the time. And it just goes in here, you line up the slots, and it's like 1/8 of a turn to lock it into place. But for now, while I fit this in there, I want to protect that and keep it out of the way. And I'm just going to wrestle this in. Tucking it down. And I can see I'm getting pretty close because now I'm pretty much lined up over top the battery disconnect cover, and I'm pretty much lined up along the arch liner in here. So the first thing I want to point out is we're going to tuck in up here where my fingers are. We want to get this part tucked in behind this upper cover, not in front of it like it was. That's wrong, that's right. So we get that into place, and then I'm just pulling up, and I'm getting a nice even fit along here that'll be held in place by the seal eventually. But now I'm thinking about this tight area right here. And now if you watch the video on removing it, getting this little section right here to tuck in to this little gap is almost impossible without a little extra room. So I'm going to follow the advice from James at Aston Installations, and I'm going to use a smooth flat blade screwdriver, and I'm just going to wedge it in behind this little section. And while I'm doing that, I might even use my hands tugging it out to get a little advantage. There we go. And he said if we could just get a little bit more gap, I'm taking my time now and I'm trying to line up the edge of that. There we go. So I'm using the outer edge here. I'm not trying to line the top edge of the carpet to that edge there. I'm actually looking at my line here for the seal at the exterior of the trunk, framework here. So that looks about perfect. So now I'm going to take the pressure off the screwdriver and pull that out. Pull off my tape. So I'm pretty much there. What I want to do next is so before we push this into final position, this is a good time just to bend it down. I've taken the housing here and I'm putting it into the opening, and on my car I'm holding it almost like at the 6 o'clock position, and now I'm going to turn it to the 7 o'clock position, and that's all it takes to get it mounted pretty firmly. And then it's just going to come up into place. So now I want to offer up the battery charge point, power point cover. It's held on by the 3 screws that we took out earlier. And I'm just going to try to get this lined up through the carpet first. And then I can start the screw by hand. I'm going to do that with each of the uppers as well, through the carpet, and then try to engage the thread. There we go. So I gave those a final snug. And the last thing to do is, if it's come out, is to fit your power outlet cover. Now, if you've bumped the battery disconnect button, you will be very perplexed when you can't start your car. What you'll need to do is go under the right rear seat squab above the battery. There's a yellow button. You'll push that, and that's the reset if you've actually pressed this battery disconnect button. So once you're happy with the fitment of all the rest of it, it's time to refit the seal. So I'm kind of giving this a good tug up to get it into place so it's flush. And then I'm going to start refitting the seal from one end. Now this seal doesn't come on with glue, it's just a friction fit, and you have to get it over top the carpet and the frame of the trunk. So it takes a little bit of work. Now poor fitment here is just from not being putting enough force onto it, and you don't want to have a trunk leak. So take your time. It takes a fair bit of force to squeeze it down over top. If something doesn't go right, just pull it off and do that section again. All right. So the last step is to put all your gizmos back in your trunk well. So that's it. Only takes about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, depending on how challenging this little bit up front is. Pretty easy project to undertake at home. Down here you're going to find a link to my companion blog article about this. May have some additional tips to help you out. Up here you'll find probably the video on how to remove the panel in the first place to get it out of here properly the first time. If you like videos like this, please go ahead and subscribe, and you'll get automatically notified when a new one comes out. And as always, I love to hear your comments. Did I do it right? Did I do it wrong? Please leave those down below. Thanks for watching.